These are the final seconds.
The lead in the fourth. Can they hold on to it?
That do or die time. And everything rides on one shot. But it isn't going to be that easy.
And it's a one-point game.
This is down to the wire.
They're going to try the three-point attempt.
One shot to take you to the top. One winner. This is clutch basketball. That's the NBA playoffs. That's game. These are the final seconds.
The lead in the fourth. Can they hold on to it?
That do or die time. And everything rides on one shot. But it isn't going to be that easy.
And it's a one-point game.
This is down to the wire.
They're going to try the three-point attempt.
One shot to take you to the top. One winner. This is clutch basketball. That's the NBA playoffs. That's game.
Ready to become a master of the minutiae surrounding Cougar athletics? Well, you've come to the right place. This is Cougar Sports with Ben Criddle on ESPN 960 and 94.5 FM.
Welcome back, Cougar Sports, ESPN 960. This is Cougar Country. I'm Ben Criddle, broadcasting live from our Wasatch Medical Clinic, WasatchMedicalClinic.com studio. Stop living with ED, live without ED. Today it is time for a Cougars in the Pro segment, brought to you by Built Bar, BuiltBar.com. Want to talk about Mike Davis today. He's making some money in the NFL. Let's celebrate him. Former BYU great defensive back, making doubters believers. Got his contract extended, making some money, staying in L.A. Let's discuss it here with OC Register's very own Los Angeles Chargers insider. We got Gilbert Manzano on the line. Gilbert, how you doing, man? Thanks for hopping on.
Hey, I'm doing too well. Just trying to hang on for this free agency frenzy. The last 48 hours have been kind of crazy.
Yeah, it has been crazy. What's been going on with Mike Davis? How did LA retain his contract? How did they retain his talents in Los Angeles?
I think the big one was being close to home. Obviously, as you guys know, Michael started in Southern California in Glendale, where he was raised before going to BYU to play college football there. And he's very close to his mother and his family there, so he wanted to be close to home in Los Angeles. But also, I think maybe in a way kind of returned the favor for the Chargers, because he started there in 2017 as an undrafted rookie. He had to kind of work his way up. They saw potential as a special teamer in 2017, made the roster. And then in 2018, there was an opportunity to start. There was injuries there. And from there, Michael Davis got better each and every year. And I think maybe he saw that kind of trending higher every year, and he wanted to stay with the Chargers. And also the new head coach, Brandon Staley, he has a track record for kind of getting the best out of DBs from his days as a defensive coordinator with the Rams or with the Bears. So I think all these things kind of came into play, and it worked out for Michael Davis, a guy who was an undrafted rookie, to now cash in 4 years later.
Yeah, and he gets paid, man. I was told that there were many suitors that wanted Michael Davis's services. How many came a knocking? How many offers do you think he had?
It sounds like it was 4 or 5. It was definitely a handful. Before free agency started, I had a feeling he's going to have a good amount of offers, because he has the speed, he has the size, very athletic, the experience that you want from a cornerback, so you don't have to kind of groom him. He's ready to go, especially in today's pass-heavy football where there's a lot of speed all over the field. Michael Davis was a commodity. People wanted that. But I think, it just kind of came down again to kind of where he was, I guess, where he lived or location, stuff like that. But it was a little bit, kind of a surprise that the Chargers didn't get it done before free agency. They kind of got a little risky there. They let teams actually talk to Michael. And Michael was telling us today, he spoke to the media, he said that he went to Utah, I think actually to Provo and BYU, to kind of, clear his head, clear his mind, to unwind, because he was kind of unsure of what was going to happen. So I think once the Chargers called, that was probably where his heart wanted to be, and maybe kind of going to the other calls that kind of came in as free agency started at 9 in the morning Pacific time on Monday. And when Tom Telesco called, I think that's probably when he wanted to go. He seemed very excited when he spoke to the media. So I think once he comes back to Utah, he'll have a big celebration in LA.
Yeah, it's truly an awesome story. Mike Davis didn't even start his senior year for the entire season.
Well, he got pulled as a starter.
Has Mike told the local media kind of what his senior year was like in that transition to the NFL?
Yeah, a little bit today, actually. He was saying that, maybe at BYU he was known as an athlete. He was I think he was a star sprinter at Glendale High School. He went to BYU. He has a lot of potential in terms of speed and size, but he said he didn't really become a cornerback until he got to the Chargers. He felt like maybe they saw the potential in him in BYU, but he couldn't put it all together in college. So he kind of probably went undrafted in 2017, and he thanked the former DB's coach, Ron Miles, of the Chargers, because he said he saw the potential. He worked with him. He was patient with him. The Chargers overall were patient because even to Michael Davis's credit today, he was very honest. He said, I was very inconsistent in 2018, 2019. I wasn't polished when I came out of college, and the Chargers helped me get there. And he said, which was surprising to me, that he didn't feel that everything clicked until week 5 of last year. I think he gave up some big plays against the Buccaneers in week 4 and against the Saints in week 5. And then from there, you saw the flashes of the potential the Chargers had kind of been waiting for. And Michael felt the same thing, that he felt that he's finally consistent because, he was the number 2 cornerback for the Chargers, that he was able to kind of, contain the number 2 wide receivers on opposing teams. And usually when the number 2 guys are kind of the speed guys, and he was keeping up with guys and preventing big plays. And I think maybe he's a little late bloomer, but there was kind of glimpses the last 3 years, and he finally figured it out in 2020. And he even said to us that he was unsure that the Chargers wanted him to come back into that game against the Saints because he felt like he's been kind of, not living up to his potential. So after maybe midway through the season, he felt like, okay, maybe they might want me back. I think I'm trying to figure it out. So he was very honest today when he spoke to us.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. I mean, he just got paid. I mean, this is a sweet deal for Mike. Changes the dynamics of his family, generational wealth we're talking about. What was the reaction from his family? Were you able to get some interaction with the family?
Yeah, not the family, but I asked Michael about it because I know his background. So I wrote a story on him when the Chargers played the Chiefs in Mexico City at Azteca Stadium. Obviously, Michael, I think he might be. I don't know. He might be one of the few Mexican American football players in the NFL. So he was a big story that week. His mom was from Mexico City. He's going back home to play, in front of his mom's, family. So I kind of got to know him a little bit. Got to know his mom and his son too. And he was raised by a single mother, who immigrated from Mexico to the United States, and they've been through a lot. So I asked Michael, when you got this news, when you got $15 million guaranteed, I'm guessing your mom was pretty happy. And he said that, yeah, she cried. She was very happy for me. She knows what we've been through, and it could kind of set them up, like you guys mentioned, for generations. For him, his hard work and the long path with his mother really paid off.
Has Mike become a fan favorite because of his background, his Mexican heritage as well? The Latino Hispanic culture. I mean, they've typically gravitated towards traditional football, soccer here in America, but there's a lot of those individuals that are probably following Mike Davis and his career because of his background.
Yeah, definitely. And Michael Davis really embraces his Mexican side. He likes to, speak some Spanish. And when he got the big deal with the Chargers, you see a lot of former teammates or current teammates, using Spanish words like, congrats, congrats hermano, congrats amigo, stuff like that. So obviously they know his heritage and his culture. But yes, you mentioned the Latino fan base in Los Angeles is big, and I think they really like that he really embraces that side. I know it was kind of a love-hate relationship because he was inconsistent in 2018 and 2019. And I think that game in Mexico City, where people find out, like, oh, he's actually Mexican-American, they kind of started, backing him up a little more. He went through kind of, a rocky finish in 2019 because I think he was suspended for 4 games. But then he kind of came back in 2020 and really flourished. And then people got behind Michael And I was kind of surprised when free agency started. They were kind of screaming, Chargers fans, for Michael Davis to be retained. They had Hunter Henry, Melvin Ingram, but every time I kind of asked to kind of get a feel for it, they always wanted Michael Davis back. So, what he did in 2020, he really won the fans over. And again, when you have a corner who has that size and that athletic and has experience, he was definitely had a lot of interest. But a lot of the Chargers fans were pushing Tom Telesco, the GM, to keep him, and they got it done.
Yeah, it's big news, and I know BYU fans are really enjoying the success that Mike Davis is experiencing right now. We got Gilbert Manzano on the line, Cougar Sports, ESPN 960, representing the OC Register, Los Angeles Chargers insider, discussing Mike Davis. So what's next for Mike Davis? How good can Mike be? Do you view him as a talent that could maybe make a Pro Bowl eventually?
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think that's one of the reasons why he stayed with the Chargers, because, again, Brandon Staley, a year ago, he was with the Rams. He's kind of this unknown name. He turned a lot of guys like John Johnson, Troy Hill, Leonard Floyd, and they all had career years under Brandon Staley. So I think now at this point that Michael Davis has reached, and talking to Brandon Staley, he's really excited that maybe he could take his game to a whole nother level and maybe potentially be a Pro Bowler. But I think for Michael, it kind of starts with, maybe replacing Casey Hayward. Casey Hayward has been the number one cornerback for the Chargers maybe about the past 5 seasons, maybe 4 seasons, and Michael's kind of been the number 2 cornerback there. That's where he kind of gets the shifty guys, the speed guys, not the stud number 1 wide receivers. So if he wants to compete for that job, number 1 cornerback, it's available, and they just signed him for a bunch of money. So I think they view him as being a top cornerback. So I think he'll be able to compete for that job. So his role will be more demanding, facing the number 1 guys in the AFC West every week or in the NFL. That could be tough for him. But again, with Brandon Staley's guidance and what he has, the potential that he has untapped, maybe he could be a good number 1 cornerback and maybe a Pro Bowler. But we don't know yet. I think the Chargers might add one more cornerback to go with Chris Harris Jr. and Michael Davis. Maybe they could try to get a veteran cornerback to maybe compete with Michael at the number 1 spot, or draft a cornerback with their first-round pick. So still a lot to be kind of determined. But I think when you get $15 million guaranteed, I think the Chargers view him as a high player. So I would not be surprised if he is a day 1 outside cornerback, number 1 on the depth chart.
Love it, Gilbert Manzano. Make sure you're following him on Twitter and read all the stuff at the OC Register. Gilbert, thanks so much for hopping on for a Cougars in the Pro segment.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, parents, did you know your kids' money habits start as early as the 2nd grade? Help them build money skills for the real world with GoHenry, the debit card and financial learning app for kids 6 to 18. Use it to check off chores, set savings goals, automate allowance, and more. Families love it. 92% of parents said their kids were more money confident after using the app. Get started at GoHenry.com, promo code SMART. Hey parents, did you know your kids' money habits start as early as the 2nd grade? Help them build money skills for the real world with GoHenry, the debit card and financial learning app for kids 6 to 18. They'll check off chores in the app, set savings goals, and get their own customized card. It's easy to automate allowance, track spending, and more, so they get independence, and you get to set the boundaries. Guide their learning every step of the way and stay up to date with real-time notifications in your parent app. Families love it. GoHenry has over 1.5 million members, and 92% of parents said their kids were more money confident after using the app. Start your kids on their journey to become money-smart adults. Get started at GoHenry.com, promo code SMART.